Good evening, people. Hello, my students.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Power.
Good evening.
You have power?
Yes.
I don't have power. Yeah. So I think it will come at 9 o'clock. I don't know how long this will, continue, right? You also don't know. Okay. Usman. Where are you from, Usman?
Candy, sir.
Candy. Okay. So different zones, right? But I'm in zone S. My zone is S. So it's in Dehiwala. And we have from 747, yeah, power went at 747. So it's gonna come around 9:10, I guess. That's how it is, So because of the power cut, I have to say that many of our plans actually, have gone a little. We are a little lagging behind, to be honest. Yeah, it's what it is, The daytime when there's a power cut, sometimes you have your productivity gets hit. I understand. Even our students, they find it really boring or difficult because of sweating and these type of things. It's difficult to focus on studies. These are only a few of the challenges that we are facing right now. So this power cut, maybe I don't know, the country's economy has to come to normal, and simply they just can't meet the demand. We can expect this to continue the whole year. I think we can't expect this to end anytime soon. Because look, they have water now in the hydro power plants, but now they say Norachole has broken down. And Norachole is, obviously, I don't know what's wrong with that coal power plant. Maybe because it's Chinese. So every once in 2 months, we have breakdowns in that power plant. It's not a reliable power plant, but actually, like 40-50% of our power is generated there through that coal power plant. So that's the main thing. That's something extra knowledge for you. But still, we are far from over, getting out of this crisis. Yeah. But exams don't wait, this is the time. I think you have to focus more and more on your studies, more than ever. Even your parents realize that, I believe, that we need to focus more on our studies and achieve more things in our lives. I try to achieve. That's the thing, So I woke up to a news yesterday. I want to share this with you, especially before we start the class today. 2 students have set fire to a school. Did you hear that news? Yeah.
No, sir.
Okay, two students, all right. One student is 12 years old, the other one is 7 years or something like that. Now, these two guys have set fire to their principal's office. Okay, let me share that story with you. I think this is really important because we need to know where we are heading basically. So you guys are now 16 this year, and have you ever thought of setting fire to a school? Hmm? Have you ever thought of setting fire to a school just because your principal scolded you? Yeah, this is I don't know, this is I don't know how to call this. Is this stupidity? Is this madness? What type of like psychopath he was? I just can't imagine this. I can't imagine. I couldn't believe my eyes when I saw this news, right? Two students set fire to their own school. How come that's possible? Yeah, let me show you that news. I want to share that news with you. Both of them are arrested. I don't know. Like, I think there one is 12 years. He was wearing a bracelet. And 12 and 7. Putala, can you imagine? One guy is in grade 2 and the other one in grade 7 or 8, maybe. The other one in grade 3 or 2 or 3. Yeah. You could do a better thing than that. It's real. It's real. Co-chopping the principal. You do co-chopping the principal. This is where you get it wrong, Pude. The moment that you make fun of the people basically who's trying to do good to you, that's the place you get it all wrong. This is what has happened to our country also, right? There were a lot of people who wanted to do good to this country. People didn't respect them, right? Even you have to look at your teachers not like villains or who's trying to basically beat the heck out of you, but you have to look at them like not like they are doing their job also. It's more than a service than a job, basically. You can see I've been there myself, so I know for a fact how difficult it is to teach in a school for 6 hours. It's very, very difficult. Okay, to be honest. Yeah, maybe your teachers are not telling you that, but as a tuition teacher I can share some of these things with you honestly. It's very, very tough, especially when the students are not helping. Yeah, students are not learning. It's super, super tough. Can you see this photo?
Yes.
Okay, so this says 12 and 7. Now, I can't just follow my words, but to say, what the hell, right? What the hell, right? 12 and 7, they set fire to school through the computer lab, to the principal's office. Damage worth of maybe hundreds of thousands. Just because the principal, I don't know if he hit them or whatever, right? Wearing a bracelet or something. So that's taking revenge from your principal, right? Just because he wanted to do good to you. Because maybe these students, they don't have good parents. So the parents have failed them. Basically, the parents could not bring them to the right path. So they ended up bringing unnecessary things to the school and everything. It's the parents' responsibility. Like, we hold our president responsible for everything. Same like that. It's, you pay. When you are a parent, you can't just brush it off. Okay, I don't know. I didn't know he had something in him, and I didn't know he was taking these things to school. I didn't know because I didn't have time. I didn't. Yeah, this is not an excuse. So just because his parents failed and principal tried to basically bring him more these two to the right path, and with good intention he did some punishment. So what he deserves is, what the school deserve. End of the day, being set fire. Is it fair? Is it, where are we heading to? Basically, aren't we emotional? I mean, we are human beings, right? So how human beings are uh, differentiated from animals is because of our emotions, because of our quality of empathy. When somebody is hungry, we feel that, but the animals, they don't feel it, right? When somebody is sad, we feel that. We feel the same thing. We try to console them. If somebody is crying, we really get touched by it. For example, when if your parents have cried, ever cried, if you have seen them cry, nothing would have, brought that feeling to you. Sometimes, you immediately wanted them to stop. That's because being empathetic, that's the nature of the quality of the human beings. Animals don't do that. Animals also have emotions, actually, but not to the level of the human beings, but to a certain level. Okay, they also have love. They love their kids, the babies. It's there. Even in animals. So what I can say is, like, okay, if you don't feel for these things, you are lower than animals. I mean, these people, they're falling into a place that is even lower than the animal standards, just because they can't understand. Basically, they just, so stuck in front of a phone screen, and they feel everything out of the phone screen. This doesn't give you the emotional touch that you need. Whatever you learn from your screen doesn't give you that touch. It's not like feeling something. uh, for example, you can walk for, let's say, when you are playing PUBG, right? For example, our boys, you can walk for kilometers and kilometers and kilometers, right? You can run, you can walk for maybe 100 kilometers inside the phone screen. But try to do that in real life at 12 o'clock, 12 noon, or 1 o'clock, right? Try to walk a 5 kilometers without shoes, if possible. Yeah. Right? How you feel. So people, nowadays, these children, that's the thing. That's what I need to share with you. The young generation, like you guys, you have not felt the life much. When we were your age, we had felt it a lot. We know what is life, basically, what is emotion, what are good qualities, what are bad qualities. Now everything is like digitalized, and you don't have that feel. You don't feel. When you see something, you should feel it. I'm not saying everyone, but most of our students, unfortunately, they don't feel for others. They don't feel what's good and what's bad. They don't know how to distinguish. They simply think of everything like a computer game. Everything is okay. They have no idea how much property really, setting fire to an office like this, how hard it is to basically build one. you know they have no idea, because especially, there's a problem with the modern day parents as well, because parents don't want their children to suffer. That's the main thing. Because you have to suffer, then only you learn. You have to suffer, you have to stay without eating. You have to feel that thing. You have to suffer one day without the bus, with no money. You have to walk 10 kilometers and see how it feels like to walk 10 kilometers out in the sun, without having a penny in your hand, right? So when you suffer, you learn. There's a saying like this: what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So let's say walking 10 kilometers out in the sun without a penny in your hand, because you just can't take a bus or a taxi. You feel it. You don't die walking 10 kilometers. You can walk 10 kilometers in 2 to 3 hours. Normally, I have done that. Okay. So within 2 to 3 hours maximum, you can do that, between 2 and 3. If you're a good walker, maybe 2. If you're a little bad, take breaks, 3. So then you feel it. Then you immediately feel, okay, how hard it is, how hard life is, and these things. Then you understand the value of it. Now parents nowadays, they don't want children to suffer. Okay, the 3-wheel or the van comes near the school, picks you up, drops you at the doorstep, just come. Just so life is so cool, right? It's good. Life is good. I mean, it's so cool. But again, you haven't learned anything. This life is no use because you haven't been put to a test. So when you get the real test, you fail. This is what has happened to these children, So when you are not tested, I mean, it's like something that you built that is not tested. For example, the Russians, they built so many weapons, but they were not tested. Now they put, I mean, then they go through a real test. The Russian army is going through a real test in Ukraine. Now you can see their shortcomings and everything because they were not put to a test. Sometimes you need to put yourself in a test. Not only these exams that we are talking about, but real life tests. Walk 10 kilometers, right? Stay 2 days without a proper meal. Stay one night and study or do something, do some work all night. How to basically, go through a night shift. How it feels like. You need to know, right? Otherwise, you don't understand. You simply won't understand. Right. So look at this. So last day, I remember, I think in our grade 10 class, we spoke about this, right? So to take a start, I mean, today we'll talk about this, There's a plate of rice here, Can you see?
Yeah, sir.
All right. Now this plate of rice, okay, coming to the economics, this plate of rice, we could basically produce one or buy one 2 years ago for like 200 rupees, okay, maximum. Yeah. Now, if you talk about the economy, everything, you at least have to spend like a 350 rupees with gas and with everything to get the same thing done. Now people start really feeling the value of certain things. Okay, then you reduce your expenses and cut down on your unnecessary expenses, these things. But imagine how difficult it is to produce this plate of rice. Okay, look at that. How hard the farmer should work to produce this rice. How hard the person who's running that gotukola pathya have to work to get this gotukola on your table. What about the potatoes? Maybe they're coming from India. How many ships they have to load into the ships? They have to unload them. They have to go through customs clearance and lorries and come to the supermarket or the grocery store and then come to your table. Right? Beetroot. How basically people have to tired or sweat out themselves so that your mother or father, they have to also work hard for this, to earn this, basically to put food on your table. So they have to go to work. Some of you have both of your parents who are going to work. Some of you have one parent going to work maybe. So then work or business, whatever. Then they have to earn this and basically put it on the table because it doesn't fall from the sky. Okay, so what you do is you don't know how to appreciate, you don't know the story behind this. There's a big story behind this. Okay, from the moment that the seeds are sown to produce or to basically until you harvest this rice, and up to the moment that your parents earn and bring those things from the shop and put it in a gas cooker, how difficult it is to find gas and everything, and basically put it on the table for you. They even put it on the table for you, right? Sometimes camel has the end of the kanda. Yeah, they even, you don't even have to go to the kitchen and serve yourself. Your mother, serves it for you, and just sometimes, she brings it to you like a waitress. Okay, then you simply, all you need to do is, while looking at the phone screen, you just have to take it with your hand. This is all the work you do, right? Yeah. How much work? Yeah, we are talking about work and everything in our science lesson, right? The distance and everything. Yeah, how much work? Or maybe 20 centimeters between your plate and your mouth, and you don't feel the value. Right? You don't know how important these things are, and you just simply eat it, throw the plate away, let your mom wash it or whatever, maybe sometimes, then keep looking at the phone screen and play PUBG. This is what you do, right? So this should change. You're talking about big things like, making this country a Singapore and Dubai, South Korea, all talk. Cardboard hero, keyboard heroes. Heroes when it comes to the keyboard, heroes in two thumb heroes, typing everything. They are typing and changing the world. Nothing will happen like that, right? You have to come to the reality. So you need to understand what's real and what's fake. So when the problems come knock your door, then you come to your senses. Now people are coming to their senses, but it's too late. It's too late. The ship has gone. Ship has set sail. Never give level, right? When you sometimes realize. So all these times we have been very, very lazy and very, we can say it's like, very kind of lethargic or lazy or ignorant. Yeah. Like everything will happen, everything is happening and we'll be fine. Yeah, this mindset, we've been ignorant, neglecting all the problems. Now when it comes and knocks our doors, we come to our senses and we are desperate on what to do next. We are basically beggars now, right now, in front of the world. Okay, 200 million, 500 million, 1 billion from India. How long can this go on? Yeah, within 2 months, I don't know what's going to happen. Basically, even I don't know what will happen to me. I don't know what will happen to you, because the country is in such a very grave situation, So simply being ignorant has brought us here. So come to your senses. Look at how difficult it is, basically, the reality, understand the reality. Just forget the fake, that thing that you just, the imagination, and try to understand how difficult it is, how difficult life is, not only for us. Maybe you are spending an easy life, but, plenty of people around us, basically everybody, people of our country, right? Yeah, end of the day, we need to have a country. Okay, so let's get started. Government have money enough to hold O levels? Yes, they have a machine put in that can print money. Okay, that's called the money printing machine. So the central government will allow them to print it. Okay, if they don't have money, the central government will say, okay, print it and pay the teachers, print it and pay the transport and everything. Then what will happen is our inflation will go high. Goods of prices will go even higher. Okay, this is what will happen. They have the money. They have money, but I don't know if they have papers. Have you seen how the money gets printed? I remember a few videos, not recently, but I have seen. Yeah, but not for real. Okay? I have seen sweep tickets getting printed, but I didn't know which sweep would basically, bring the win, so I couldn't pick one. Yeah, I remember when I was in grade 5, we were taken to the State Printing Corporation in Paduk, near Homagam. Homagam, we go to Paduk. So I remember seeing sweep tickets being printed. Oh, so many sweep tickets, I don't know which one to pick, right? Yeah, is to leave, right? Is to leave. So how fair is it? Huh? Even I want to live, okay, fine, but you ask your conscience, how fair is it to live? Because you brought, not you actually, people as a whole, we brought leaders who can't run the country, and we voted for people who cannot run the country, basically who failed the country. And when the country has failed, you just simply ignore your part and leave. Is it fair? Because you are the people, we are the people who brought them to power, and they have failed, and we also have to take responsibility. Just leaving, quitting is a solution. Quitting is quitting fair? මෙහෙම දැන් මේ මැච් එකක් යනකොට දාලා යන එක හරිද? Yeah, Sri Lanka needs good people right now to win. Even I want to live. That's a different thing, Yeah, but think 10 times. That's the thing. Okay. Anyway, I believe something is learned for your lives. So the main thing is, emotions. I mean, be emotional. Be empathetic. Feel for others. That's the main thing. Feel for them. When you don't feel it, try to feel. Try to feel for others and do something about it. At least help others with a word or two. If you can't help with money, if you can't help with food, maybe you can't help the country politically, but you can help somebody with a kind word, right? With a smile, with a kind word. So this is what we have to instill, the values we need to instill in our young generation. Unfortunately, many of us, many of the people of the young generation, they are so restricted, they are so digitalized, their eyes and everything, they don't even have proper eye contact with other people because of these things. Everything needs to change. I mean, this is how we move forward. Okay, the real values in life have to be understood, and the real value of humanity have to be understood and put into practice. That is the only way that we can win. So yes, we were talking about the political changes that took place under the British. So I was thinking about these problems recently that our country is facing. uh, we have a big problem. Okay, today I saw this news. Allies of Ukraine raised $6.5 billion in military and humanitarian aid for Ukraine. Allies of Ukraine. This word is very, very powerful. That means I was thinking like Ukraine has allies. That means brotherly countries, countries who are ready to go beyond their limits to help Ukraine. Do we have allies? $1 million question. Who are our allies? China is our ally. India is our good friend, is it? India used to be our good friend for many, many centuries, or you can say millenniums, 2000 plus years. Buddhism also came from India. But India is a true ally of us today. Okay, somewhat true, because right now, if you are using your petrol, that is sent by India on a credit line. Okay, if you have your petrol in your father's bike or three-wheeler or maybe car, that petrol was sent by India. So because of that, we can say India is an ally. But is it a true ally? That's the question. Because we lost India also by trying to become more friendly with China, because India, China, they are against each other. So our politicians, we have to accept that did nothing to bring our country or make good friends with other countries. Okay. Now, when you take a glass of water from the ocean, what will happen to the ocean today? Yeah.
Decreases
Really?
a little bit.
Okay. Simply, will the ocean feel it? Take a glass of water from the ocean. Ocean level will go down. Is it? What do you think? There are countries like that with a lot of oil. Okay. Saudi Arabia, for example. If they send like a 5-6 oil ships to Sri Lanka, petrol ships, will they feel it? Not really. UAE, Qatar, then you have Kuwait, Iraq, Iran, they all have so much oil. Okay, it's like the sea, like the ocean. You take 5-6 ships, they don't feel it. But from 20 years, no Sri Lankan leader has ever traveled to those countries to make good friendships. For about 20 years, we send people to work there. More than 1 million people as we speak. Even go to the airport right now and see how many people are going to Saudi Arabia, UAE to work. Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, Oman. Many people are going as we speak. Go to the airport, and if you can talk to the People who are standing in the queue, where are you going? You will know, right? They're working, they're going to work. Basically, they're bringing a lot of money from those countries. Basically, we have been given the opportunity, because Arab countries have been friendly with us for more than a millennium now, like more than 1,000 years. Okay. We need to understand that relationship. But what did the politicians do to make good friends? Why? Now can we go? I mean, from 20 years we haven't gone. Now, when we have a problem, can we go and ask for some oil? Look at that, right? This is a big thing. I really wanted to share this thought with you. I saw because Ukraine was able to raise $6.5 billion in a very short period of time in military and humanitarian aid because it has true friends. But we have none. We don't have a single true friend right now. We didn't even try building one. We didn't try building good friendships with other countries. Pakistan is a good friend. India is also a good friend. But Pakistan is also in trouble right now. They're in deep trouble. I think their troubles are deeper than us. China, we can't say they are true friends because, end of the day, they have their agendas. Basically, they want to be the regional power. So they basically want to exploit us. They want to get our properties and basically threaten India. India, because of that, are somewhat angry with us. They are not ready to go full throttle, full power to help us. Okay. But they are helping us, obviously, because there are people also here. So it's like a two-way road, we also do a lot of business with them. So because of that. But unfortunately, yeah, when it comes to the true friends, very good allies, we have very limited or no allies, to be honest. This is the problem, So right now, your target must be, if you, someday, you're gonna be responsible, people in this country, you have the voting power maybe in 2 years' time. So appoint people, use your vote so that people can be appointed to the legislative bodies, like we talked, the parliament, right? We are talking about that as well right now. And they can really make allies, yeah, this is a need of the time, that's the thing. Okay, let me share the tweet with you. Give me a second, please. So we discussed Coldbrook reforms last week, correct? Everybody remember that? We went in detail about Coldbrook reforms, right? The first political reform, yes, under the British. You know why it took place. What is the main reason for Coldbrook reforms to be introduced in Sri Lanka? Who can share with me?
Due to the increase in expenses and decreases in income.
Yeah, because we faced an economic crisis like we are doing right now, like we are facing right now. That is, the expenses was greater than the income of this country. So the British government had to take steps and bring the Coldbrook Commission to give them with recommendations on how to improve or how to increase the income and decrease the expenses. So with that in mind, Coldbrook suggested many changes, political and economic changes especially, so that we can fall back on track in 1833. The British government decided to implement those in 1833. And we move from there, okay? So, what happened in Coldbrook reforms. Basically, the plantation sector of our country. Can you see the whiteboard today?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Plantation sector of our country rapidly advanced or developed as a result of the Coldbrook reforms. Okay, how? Because Coldbrook abolished the Gamsabha system, made more labor available. Coldbrook also suggested that a new land policy to be implemented by the government, like the Barren Land Act. This led to the Barren Land Act, okay, of 1840. Barren Land Act we learned in unit number 2 also, which basically paved the way for the 1848 battle to take place. But I'm going to discuss that again to make you understand, build a solid foundation so that we can come to Crewe-McCallum Constitution. Okay. So the Barren Land Act means, Pute, if you have a land, if you have not cultivated it, And if you cannot also prove the government that this land is yours through documents for 30 years, this land will be taken over by the government. Okay, let's say you are a farmer, you have a big land. Okay, your father gave it to you. When your father, let's say you are a farmer living in 1840, okay? You are a farmer. Your father gave it to you, your grandfather gave it to him. Now you are only cultivating this part of the land because you can't find manpower, you are not very strong. Let's say you don't have enough wealth or money to put people. So you are cultivating only this part. And this part is basically a barren land, Mudu Idama, right? Nobody's, basically cultivating. You are just simply, you have ignored it. Okay. So Coldbrook said, we have to adopt a new land policy to basically get more lands and sell them to people who can invest, and they will come and put money and make those lands estates or plantation. They will basically, you can develop plantation with those lands. Now let's say now you are fine, you the government is coming and asking you why you haven't the British government is coming and asking why haven't you cultivated this land? You are just saying, this is my father's land, my father gave it to me, so I don't want to cultivate this because I already have this land. This is more than enough for my users. Okay, so what are you doing with this land? The government is asking. Then you are telling, I'm doing nothing, but this is my land. You are telling that, right? This is my land, but I'm doing nothing. Okay, the British government is saying, okay, this is the act. If you are not cultivating a land, you are supposed to give it to the government because we can make some money out of it. We can sell it. Okay. If you are not using it, if you are not cultivating it, what's the point of keeping it? Then you are telling, no, my father gave this to me, so my children can also enjoy this land and their children can also enjoy this land. So this is my property, so don't touch it. Then the British government is telling, okay, show us proof that you have, this land is yours. Show us proof. Show me the deed. Now, those days, Pute, there were no deeds. When the grandfather died, he said, okay, all my land is to my son. Then the father died, he said, all my land goes to my son. Most of these agreements are verbal. Katavachane. Okay, verbal. So you don't have proof. So let's say only a few people had proof that these lands are owned by them for more than 30 years. Many people did not have deeds or proof to show the government, the British government, that they owned these lands for more than 30 years. So the Barren Land Act said, any uncultivated land that cannot be proven of a continuous ownership for 30 years should be taken by the government, or will be taken by the government, will be seized by the government. The government seized so many lands like this. And what they did, they sold all these lands at a cheaper rate to the people who wanted to do plantation. Coffee, later tea, rubber, these things. Okay, starting with coffee, cinchona, cocoa, cinnamon, let's say after that tea, everything came. So this is how the plantation sector got developed. Now, let's take a look at how the plantation sector worked, right? Now, the plantation sector, there were two types of people. One thing is local businessmen. The other type is foreign businessmen. Foreign businessmen from Europe also came and bought these lands from the British government and engaged in cultivation. They can hire people locally, they can hire people from Sri Lanka and get them to work in those estates. Okay, there were local people also who bought lands from the government and engaged in cultivation. Okay, the foreign people and local people, right? Now there was another group that basically acted as contractors. They are also local people. These are estate owners. Okay, these two FNL estate owners. This group is called contractors. Let's say, for example, Tahani is buying a land. Okay, now Tahani is a local girl, so she's got a lot of money. So she's gonna buy a land. She's gonna talk to the, now Tahani is living in 1840s. Okay, 1840s, 1850s. So she's gonna buy a big land. She's gonna talk to the British government. Okay, how much land you have, I will buy them all, right? I mean, yeah. Foreigners also have bought lands. Okay. Now locals are also buying lands. Now Senuti is telling, okay, Tahani, I know you are not good. You have money, but you don't know how to cultivate this land, right? So I can give you expertise. I can prepare the land for you. I can bring the laborers. Oh, something like that. Then Kulangi is telling, all right, okay. So Senutu will be preparing the land. I will bring labor from India to work for this land. Oh, I will do the transportation of goods once you harvest the land. So these are called contractors. Okay. Now the landowners are there. At the same time, contractors. There were two types of landowners: foreign landowners. I mean, Europeans who came to Sri Lanka bought land from here to estate or to basically make estates, cultivation business. Then there were local people as well, wealthy people who bought lands and became landowners. At the same time, there were contractors who are mainly local, who provided support services to those lands and became rich. Now, all these three groups became rich. Okay, contractors also became rich. Okay, now in 1833, Coldbrook Reforms were introduced. Time was passing by, and these things were happening, and there were a lot of contractors as a result. A rich class, a rich middle class, as we call it, were born, right? There were a lot of local, we can say, landowners as well. They were also rich. Now, what will happen when you become rich? What will happen to your children? That's the next question. What will happen? Okay, suppose your father is rich. Which school will you be attending? Maybe if you are attending a normal school, imagine your father is richer than he is right now. He will be removing you from that school and putting you to a better school, or maybe he'll send you to UK or Australia or somewhere to study. Okay, this is what fathers will do because they love their children, right? So definitely, this is what happened to our people as well. The rich middle class, they educated. Okay, they couldn't get maybe proper education, but when they got the money, they made sure that their children are very well educated. They sent their children to study in Cambridge, UK, Oxford, European universities, local good schools. These people actually gave birth to their next generation, their children basically, who became both wealthy and educated, because wealthy means they inherit from their fathers, so fathers' businesses will be run by them. Then they also got educated because the fathers wanted them to be educated. Now we had this middle class who is rich, but the next generation, now 1833, 43, 53, 63, by 73, 83, 93, we have this other generation who is very well educated, sometimes educated in UK, who can speak English like the British people, who's got a lot of knowledge, who are educated, at the same time wealthy because their fathers were rich and they inherit their businesses. Now, this educated middle class, who's both educated and rich, they started feeling for the country. Like, look, nothing has changed ever since Coldbrook reforms were introduced. Okay, this educated people of the country started feeling for the country. 1833, now it's 1900. Nothing has changed. What the British government is doing? Are they sleeping? So we need, look, they are capturing, they are basically controlling our country. We are the true owners of this country. They are occupying our country, and they still fail to bring any means of any type of good change since 1833. Then they started protesting, writing petitions, meeting with the British officials and demanding more freedom or more rights or more political reforms on the part of the Sri Lankans. So by 1908, there was a very educated person, Sir James Pieris. He wrote a petition, formal petition. Petition is a protest, a formal letter to the Secretary of the Colonies, asking that, look, since 1833, these people are doing nothing for like 75 years now. So it's time we need changes. We need political changes. Then the British government saw this. And they immediately ordered, okay, there's a genuine concern coming from the Sri Lankan educated people, and we better address it now because it might end up in a big problem. Right now, the British also didn't want anything like an 1848 again. Okay, 1848 battle for freedom, you remember. So, you know, any peaceful protest, any peaceful demand for any reforms, if you didn't listen to them, it might go out of control. You never know, right? At the same time, the Indian Renaissance movement was also very strong. Indians were pushing so hard for independence. Their political movements were also very strong. So we also took examples from it. And Sir James Pieris, for the first time, wrote a formal petition to the Secretary of the Colonies asking for more demands. The British government ordered, okay, look into this, come up with some changes. Then, as a result of that petition, after so many discussions, rounds of discussions, in 1910, we got a new constitution. We got a new political reform that is called Crewe-Macallum Constitution or Crewe-Macallum Constitutional Reforms. Okay, Pute, you got it? Everybody okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. If you have any questions, please ask. Right now, we discuss the background for the Crewe-Macallum reforms of 1910. Okay. All right. Now let's see what Sri Lankan people demand. Sometimes you can demand everything you want. For example, you can demand iPhone 13 Plus Pro Max, right? As we call it, from your father after your exam, right? Once you pass your exam, father, I made my promise, I passed my exam, so I need an iPhone 13 Pro Max, so 14 maybe by next year, yeah? 14 or 15, whatever. So I want that. Your father says, okay, will your father give it? Depends, okay? Depends on the circumstances. If he's got money, he will buy it for you. Maybe a better one than that. Maybe two, okay? Maybe a BMW, we never know. But sometimes you don't get everything you ask for. But it's better ask, you know, don't tell me that, now don't tell him that I taught this, okay? You better ask a little more, right? This is very, very genuine, you know, life skill, okay? When you need 5,000, you ask 7,000, okay? Then only it will come down to 5,000. Nowhere in my life, I have got 15,000 when I ask for 10,000, okay? When I ask for 10,000, it's gonna be 10,000 or less than that. So you slightly raise the bar a little bit, you know? I mean, allow some room for negotiation. This is what Sri Lankan, the educated middle class also did. They started asking for everything, basically. So they know when you start asking for everything, you will at least get something, right? Educated, you know, when you're educated, you think with your brain, you know, don't think with your heart. You use your head, right? So now you know what to do, right? Yeah. When you need 10,000, you ask for 12,000, then you come down to 10,000. Okay. Yeah. All right. Now, these are some of the major demands made by Sri Lankans. Increasing the number of unofficial members in the Legislative Council. Now, under Coldbrook, it was very, very limited. Still, the official members are greater than the unofficial members. And this was not, this was like a stalemate, like a checkmate situation. There's no moving forward from there, right? No moving forward. Nothing is getting developed, basically. Then the Sri Lankans also asked, look, under Coldbrook, we have the Sinhala, Tamil, Muslim people, you know, representing the legislative council. This is not nice. So we need to remove this. We are demanding the British government to remove this and appoint somebody common who can take care of all the communities, who can represent Sri Lankans, not communities like Sinhala, Tamil and Muslim, right? Okay. Then the third demand was, give us an opportunity to elect people through vote from different provinces under a provincial representative system. So this province, there will be representatives, from that province, there will be other representatives. Okay. Then Sri Lankans also demanded to increase the power of the legislative committee. Legislative committee doesn't have enough power. Now the governor is exercising all the power basically. So the legislative committee doesn't really have any power. Basically, they have to rely on the government and its officers, the governor and his immediate officers, right? So we demanded those 4 things and we got a lot of things. This is what we got today under Crew-McCallum reforms of 1910. For the first time in history, we got limited franchise. Okay, the British government said, okay, we will give you the right to vote, but it's limited. Not everybody can vote. Now everybody can vote. Everybody above 18 years can vote. Okay, now. Let's say after 2 years, you're going to get these voting rights. You're going to go out there and vote. Okay. Doesn't matter if you pass your O levels or not. Doesn't matter if you are male or female. Doesn't matter if you are wealthy or poor. Doesn't matter if you have any social status or not. Doesn't really matter. You can vote. You have one vote. Right now. But this wasn't like that. The voting system that was granted in 1910, the voting rights that was granted in 1910 was not like that. Only a limited number of people can vote. Like only males can vote. Only educated people can vote. Only wealthy people can vote. So it's like a 4% of the total population can vote. That is why it's called the limited franchise. Franchise means voting rights. Okay, you got it, Budhe? Everybody okay? But at least we got this. Now during Coldbrook reforms, we didn't have this. But in 1910 Crew-McCallum reforms, we had at least we got this for the first time, right? For the first time in history. But it was limited. It was not the one we expected. But end of the day, we got something. Something is better than nothing, right? Yeah, we got it. Then another opportunity was given to one educated Sri Lankan in the Legislative Council. Okay, we can nominate one educated Sri Lankan. We can elect basically. We can vote and elect one educated Sri Lankan to the Legislative Council. So as a result of the elections that was held under Crew-McCallum Constitution in 1912, Sir Ponnambalam Ramanathan came and filled this position that was granted to the educated Sri Lankans, as you can see. Okay, but we requested something like this. You remember we requested removal of the communal representative system, that means Sinhala, Tamil, Muslim. But this was not granted basically. You know why? Because see, there were still 6 nominations. So this 6 was nominated by the governor, mostly based on communities. Okay. But Sir Ponnambalam Ramanathan became the first educated Sri Lankan to get elected and represent the Legislative Council after 1910. He was elected in 1912. Okay. Right. So 2 Europeans here, 1 burgher and 1 educated Sri Lankan was given the opportunity. No need to remember these numbers, like I said, but all you need to remember is, what can you understand from this? Official 11, unofficial 10. Now we demanded the number of unofficial members to be increased, but did it really happen? No, because official is still greater than unofficial. Okay, so limited franchise only 4. So 2 Europeans were elected, 1 burgher was elected, 1 educated Sri Lankan was elected, 6 were still nominated by the governor. So again, 11 versus 10. No match. Still the governor enjoyed a lot of power. Still the Legislative Council did not have the power they really wanted to. But we got something. What did we get? We got limited franchise in 1910. That's a big win. That's a big victory. Thanks to people like Sir James Pearis, who wrote petitions to the British government and basically got them to listen to our problems. Okay. You got it, Pudhe? Everybody okay with this?
Yes, sir.
why was burger separately mentioned? Now, you know the burger community, Pute. Burger community are the Catholic community who are basically mixed, the mix of Europeans and Sri Lankans. That's the burger community here. Okay. So they always, under the British government or under the Dutch government, they had more rights. They were, they had some privilege. You know why? Because they had foreign roots. They had European roots. The burgers. Europeans, they love Europeans. Now Ukraine, see how much support the Europeans are giving Ukraine against Russia. Europeans, they really, they're very, they have had their fair shares of wars, but if you see them, I have worked with a lot of Europeans. So if you see how they think like the whole Europe is like one nation. They share a lot of similarities. Their thoughts, their thinking, everything is very, very similar. Okay, so they always, when there's a European somewhere in the world, they have a tendency to support them. Let's say, for example, there's a Spanish guy, there's a German guy, there's a British guy, and you Sri Lankan and Indian. Definitely the British guy will favor the Spanish and the German guys first, then he will start thinking about the Sri Lankans and Indians. Okay, this is how they normally happen. So that's why the burger community was given, we can say, a special privilege, because they are half European, half Sri Lankan. So they were given a special privilege because of that. Got it? Now, no. Now, we are a democratic country, so we basically treat everybody equally. Yeah, all our citizens. I will answer your question at the end of the session, Minura. You mean racist? Racist, right? Okay. I was thinking like racist. Okay, racist. That's a question that needs a little long answer. Yeah. I have worked with Americans, so yeah, I can answer that question very nicely. All right. Let's go for a short break. Crewe-McCallum Constitution is discussed. So we go to Manning Constitution after a break. You can, if you like, you can copy this in your book. You don't need to remember the numbers, but just have an idea. Still, the governor had more power because there were 11 official members and there were only 10 non-official members. Out of that, 6 were nominated by the governor. So they also tended to support the governor. When somebody appoints you, let's say now Minura, somebody is calling you and giving you a big post, okay, in a company. So will you support the guy who's basically gave you that post or someone else? Definitely you will support the guy who gave you the job, right? So these 6 people also tended always, more tendency was there to support the governor. It's normal. Okay, it's normal. Yeah. We'll see you in 5 minutes. Okay, right. Take some water, take some fresh air and come back. You can copy this if you want. Yeah. I think it's better you copy this. Nobody will ask you to draw this or nobody will ask you the numbers, but you need to know the distinct features. So to understand that, you can copy this. All right. Can you all hear me?
Yeah,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
So now you have a very good idea about the 1910 reforms, right? Okay. Yeah, one Putha was asking, Zimbabwe, you have to buy a loaf of bread. I mean, you have to carry money that is heavier than the bread itself to basically buy a loaf of bread. Yeah, it's crazy. That's what has happened to Zimbabwe. Even in Indonesia, because inflation is so high, the value of money has gone so much down that you need more money. Money is like only a piece of paper there, so you need a lot of paper basically to buy something. Yeah, so the value of money is maybe less than the value of that paper basically. No, I mean, you need more paper to basically buy something. Or a patra, when you sell these old books and everything, or a kilogram, so money is also like that. You measure money like like that level. So we also will come there, don't worry. Yeah, if you have any doubt, we will come there if this trend continues. Okay, if no if, if no if we didn't take the correct actions, we can also beat Zimbabwe maybe one day. Yeah, so one t-shirt will be like 100,000. Now itself it's very expensive, right? I mean, I just checked last week. A trouser used to be like 3,000 rupees. Now it's 7,000 rupees. 3,000, 4,000 rupee trouser. Now it's 7,000. So maybe in 2 months, 14,000, 15,000. You never know. So something needs to be done. This is what we need to understand. Okay. In 1920, Putte, now these reforms are mainly named after the governors who were there at the time of these reforms were introduced. Okay. So Manning was another governor who stayed here in Sri Lanka. Manning Market in Pitagodua? Now it's in Paliagoda also. Manning Market. Yeah. So named after Governor Manning. So Manning was another governor who basically worked hard and were basically, pioneered in bringing these reforms in 1920. Now the Sri Lankan people didn't give up with it. Okay, we didn't give up. Like we got 1910, but we were not happy. We didn't get everything we wanted. So still the number of unofficial members, like you can see here, is less than the official members. Okay, this is one of the main demands of us here. Some of the major demands, increasing the number of unofficial members. So this really didn't happen. Okay, so we started pushing further. We kept on pushing for another 10 years. And as a result, we got another reform in 1920. Remember one thing, if you think things will fall from the sky, it's never going to happen. Okay, for example, now we want, let's say, a government change. Maybe we want a system change. We want to change the constitution. You simply stay at home and you just say, we want to change, we want to change. Nothing is going to happen. Okay, so we have to push for it. Then only it will happen. Okay, right? Even now it's not happening. I mean, people are pushing so hard on streets and everything, but still you can't see it happening, right? So that means you need to push even harder. Okay, this is what our great leaders who lived under the British government, under the British control did. They did not give up. They kept on pushing until we got freedom. Okay, in 1818 and 1848, we tried to militarily defeat them, but we could not. There are many reasons, like we mentioned. Our military prowess is not enough. They were better equipped, and we also had some of our people still working for them, so we didn't have complete loyalty or a lot of, let's say, support. So because of these things, we could not defeat the British militarily. But after 1848, we tried by diplomatic means. We went on the diplomatic path. We went we educated our people. We, with Renaissance and everything, we, through education, we brought good intellects, good people to politics, and then they started pushing for reforms, and we got a lot of reforms as a result. Now you can see where we are heading, right? Even now we need more people like that, who are educated and who basically can push the existing governments to give us more changes in constitutions and to make this country, a better one with good policies, basically. Right? Okay, so under Manning constitutional reforms, more reforms were introduced. Okay, because of the continuous struggles of people. The main reform is the number of members were increased to 37. Earlier it was 21. This was increased to 37 is a big leap forward. Okay, 37. Can you see this here? 37? Yeah.
Yes.
Official 14 and unofficial 23. Now you can see that for the first time in history, the number of unofficial members became greater than the official members. Now, from the looks of it, from the looks of this, you can feel like the governor doesn't have much power, because official appointed by the governor only 14, unofficial is 23, again 7 nominated by the governor, 16 elected by franchise, limited franchise again. Okay, we had limited franchise back then also. Only a certain number of people can vote, like a 4% of people population. So from the looks of it, like I said, you might feel like the governor has lost his power here, but not really, because 7 members, you see, is nominated by him. So if you add these two at times of importance, okay, these 7 will also support the governor, because the governor only nominated them there. Before nominating, the governor would have told, okay, I will send you, but make sure you support me, right? So that's how it happens. So if you add 14 plus 7, it's going to be 21. Small arithmetic lesson, right? 21 is greater than 16, right? The franchise, the elected members. Okay, 21 is greater than 16. So the franchise, the elected members didn't have much power, but at times of need, the governor could basically control the legislative council as well, because he's got 14 plus nominated 7 also tended to support him at times of need. You got it, Pude? So still the governor was in control even under the Manning constitutional reforms. Okay, but there are some other changes. Introduction of the provincial representative system. This happened under the Manning Constitution. This has been our demand since the, even before the Crew-Macallum Constitution. So this 16 was divided to provinces and they were elected by provinces. Okay, but continuation of ethnic representation continued. You know why? You know why and how? See, franchise you have 16. Let's say through elections only Sinhala and Tamil people were elected, for example. Then the governor will nominate 7, right? So he will nominate Muslims and Burghers here. So the ethnic representation continued. Okay. So when he feels like there's no enough Sinhala or Tamil people to represent the legislative council, so he will use that quota. He will use the 7 nominations he can do to nominate people from other communities. Okay, so this needs to be understood. Can we take a note of this? You can copy this box. And under that, I will also write this one. Under that, I will write this bullet point. You better write this now because you can remember. Even though the unofficial members were greater than the official members, 14 unofficial members. The governor would nominate 7 unofficial members who tended to support him in times of support him when required. Yes. So the governor still enjoyed more influence in the legislative council. Let's write this. I want to write this because I put everything in the note. You are gonna read, some of you are not gonna read. So let's write this. This is a bullet point, okay? So this is the weakness. This we can say a weakness of Manning constitutional reforms of 1920. Okay. Still, the governor had more influence in the legislative council, even though the number of unofficial members became greater than the official. Still, there were 7 slots for nomination. So the governor still enjoyed more power there. Okay, but they got it. Everybody, all okay? Ask any questions if you have. Yeah, I have a few doubts from students. Let's explain this. Yes, let's take a little time going through this lesson, because lesson number 4, I told you, is the most important lesson in your grade 11 syllabus, right? So if you don't get the lesson number 4 right, lesson number 5 and 6 will be difficult. Lesson number 2 is obviously, linked to lesson number 4. So because of that, let's take a little time. Have you finished writing? Can I start clearing your doubts? Have you finished taking the notes? Yeah. Everybody? All okay? Right. You want the provincial, look, introduction of the provincial representative system. Now it's like this, Pute. Now, if you are electing somebody to the legislative council, okay, you can elect based on the provinces. Let's say, okay, each province we are going to give 2 seats. Let's say we divide Sri Lanka to 8 provinces, example. Then you give 2 seats to each province. So 2 people from each province will come and fill the 16 seats here. That's what we are talking about here. Okay, the provincial representative system. Right? Here, there are 16 seats here, filled by franchise. That means by elections. Right? So these 16 were elected from provinces. That's what we call the provincial representative system. Okay. All right. Now, there's something like this. Okay. Vanputa asked, the unofficial is 23, official is 14. This becomes 21, right? At times of need. When the governor wants, this becomes like that. Let's say these 16 people, for example, 16 people franchise, they came through elections. They are Sri Lankans. They want a road, a highway from Colombo to Matara. Okay. Yeah, highway, Colombo to Matara. Now, let's say the governor doesn't like it. The governor is telling 14 official representatives, the governor is telling these 14, look, I don't want this highway because, these people, they have no idea so about highways. So they are asking for something that I can't afford. I don't have money also. I can't take loans because the British government closed the door to loans. So I can't go for them. So this is not going to happen. So you guys object. 14 are objecting. Now 16 are in support. Okay. Now still we are in a strong position because we are the people who are asking for the change for the highway. So then the 7, now they don't know what to do, but they were appointed by the governor. The governor will say, look, you 7 people, I appointed you. I can also kick you out. So you better support this. I mean, you better support the official members who are against the highway. So 16 will be 16 will be supporting the highway project, and 14 plus this nomination also will have no choice but to align with the governor. So 21 will be against it. So 21 is greater than 16. So any such proposal will not go through, will not pass in the legislature or legislative council. You got it? So it's not 21 versus 23. It's 21 versus 16. You got it? Okay, Budhe? Is it clear? All right. Muru, Daham, is it clear? No.
Yes, sir.
All right. Okay, no? All right. It's time to move on then. What facts are you processing? All okay? Yeah, I mean, I told you, like, we need to get some time, I mean, to digest these facts, That's why I'm taking a little time explaining all this one by one. Yes. Okay. So that's Manning reforms. Crew-McCallum reforms, it's no need to remember the numbers, but we got the limited franchise plus we got a slot for an educated Sri Lankan to be elected through elections. So Sir Ponnambalam Ramanathan became the first educated Sri Lankan to represent the Legislative Council in 1912. But Crew-McCallum Constitution was introduced in 1910. Okay, but coming to Manning, 1920, the same procedure, but the number of representatives were increased. It went up to 37, official 14, unofficial 23. Out of that, still there were 16 members elected based on a provincial system, provincial representative system. 7 were nominated. That's the point here. 7 could be nominated by the governor. So these 7 tended to support the governor. So the governor still enjoyed a lot of influence on the legislative council. Okay. All right. Now, when you understood Budhe, it's easy. Then it's when we do questions, you will realize, okay, if this is in your head or no, right? When we do past paper questions, and it'll be fine. I have a question for you now. Yes, you can answer this question. Send me through WhatsApp. I will give you like 5 to 7 minutes to do this. Okay. Civics, you have the same lesson in grade 9. Okay, shall we answer this question, Putal, everybody? 11. No. So here there won't be a question in O levels like this, coming like this, okay? But I designed this question specially to check whether you understand the differences between Crewe-McCallum and Manning reforms. Crewe-McCallum happened in 1910, Manning happened in 1920. Tell me the main differences. This will put you to the test. The test that I was telling, this will really put you to the test. I will give you a little time, maybe even take 10 minutes. I don't mind it, but give me a good, sensible answer, okay? Answer that makes sense. Try to explain something here. It's a very good skill to have, okay? Trying to explain something. One paragraph is, yeah, one paragraph. I have kept some space here. You can use that space. We need more space. You are free to do that. If you have taken the printout of the tute, you can do it in the tute itself. Yes. This will basically clear all your doubts, everything, and remind you of, both the Crewe-McCallum and the Manning reforms. Yes. One second. If I think all of you can zoom it in, so I'm sharing the note. If you, I think that, yeah, lesson number 4 tute is shared, right? So for those who don't have access to the Google Drive, or maybe those who didn't take the printouts, they can just check this and answer. Take your time. If you are done with this, go to the next part. That is Manning Devonshire Constitutional Reforms of 1924. This is an extension of Manning Constitutional Reforms of 1920. That's why we can also call it the Constitutional Reforms of 1924. The correct name is Manning Devonshire Constitutional Reforms of 1924. But I have not drawn a chart for this. There's no chart also in your book. Basically, these charts, just extracts from the book. But I want you to draw the chart for this. Okay. I have explained all the points clearly. So I believe it's time that you try to read and understand these things and make a chart on your own. This is an activity as well. Okay. So once you have done explaining the main differences between the Crewe-McCallum and the Manning Constitution, it's time to draw the Legislative Council structure like the chart that we have here for the Manning Devonshire reforms that was introduced in 1924. Yeah. Now you can understand what is official, what is unofficial. Try to put them in the right places. Try to draw the chart and send me. Take 5 more minutes in doing that. Next week we'll discuss Donamo Constitution. Okay. Next week we discuss that. So today after this activity we take a leave for today. Sanud, I am checking your work. The difference between Crewe-McCallum and okay, Sanudar, you can read the question again, please. I will send you some voice clips, okay, helping you. It's a very important question, Pute. Why I put this question, even when you go to university, in future, you will have questions like this that you have to answer. Even if you go to a job interview, you have this why question, always. So why question is a very good question that you need more practice to answer in different situations in your life. Okay, that's why I specially put this question here in a very critical place, which is the most important lesson in grade 11 for a reason. But everything we do in this class, there's a reason behind it. So here we are asking the differences. I mean, the why question, basically why Crewe-McCallum Constitution is different from the Manning Constitution. Explain the main differences. So by trying to explain the main differences, by trying to answer a question like this, you have so much to gain. The skills that you tried, maybe the first time you got it wrong, doesn't matter. I mean, nobody's going to kill you, right? You practice. One day this is going to help even when you go to university, trust me. Right. So try to understand the question again. Try to read both the Crewe-McCallum reforms and Manning reforms. Try to compare side by side. That's what we do in answering a question like this. Compare side by side. What is the difference? What is the difference? What is the feature of Crewe-McCallum? What is the feature of Manning? What's the difference between those two? Yeah. Several points can be discussed here. Yeah. Just try to do that again. You can use another paper if you have to, no problem. Okay. Daham, almost you got it, but it can be better than this. Okay, you can try and do it. Dahani, good job. Can be better, but but you have compared very nicely. Yeah, it's okay. I mean, for a 56, no, for because you are like you are all over this year, right? So yeah, obviously you have to do better. Anyway, good job. Yeah. So Dinath, you are still 16. So sorry, Daham. Done a great job, but it can be a little better than this. You will know it. Okay, it's okay. So when enough time passes, when you answer questions, more questions like this, it will come down. Good job. Anyway, overall, yeah, good attempts. Well tried. Yeah, what is the chart for this Manning Devonshire constitution reforms? So the number of legislative council's members were increased to 49. So this becomes 49 under Manning Devonshire reforms. Okay, 49. Then there were only 12 official members. 12. And how many unofficial? Obviously 37, the remaining. Yeah, 37. So we are talking about Manning Devonshire reforms. Okay. Out of this 37, 29 were elected. And 8 were nominated. 8 were nominated. Okay, franchise 29, 8 were nominated. Now you can see that this 29 is greater. This 29 who were elected is greater than 20. That is 12 plus 8. Yeah, 20. 20 is great. 20 is less than 29. So because of that, now really we are talking about reducing the governor's power. So if somebody asks you the question, under which constitution did the governor start losing his power, losing his influence on the legislative council, is going to be the constitutional reforms of 1924 or Manning Devonshire reforms of 1924. You got it? Put everybody okay with this? Is everybody okay with this? Anybody needs any more explanations? Any doubts? Please ask. Nobody's talking. Is everybody okay? Can you all hear me? Hello.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So is it clear with it? Everybody all
Yes,
okay?
sir, clear.
Yes.
All right. So even in 1920, the governor had more power in the more influence in the legislative council because 7 nominated plus 14 made up to 21, but franchise elected was only 6. 21 is greater than 16. 21 was basically supporting him. 21 members were supporting him. Here it changed completely because there were only 12 plus 8. 8 nominated, 12 official, but unofficial out of 37, there were 29 elected. So this 29 had, let's say, had a plan to introduce something. So that will definitely, if the 29 agreed, that will definitely go through. That proposal will go through. Okay. All right. So Donomo Constitution, we will discuss next week. Right. Next week we'll finish this lesson. Hopefully we can finish this lesson next week. And yeah, we have a little things to do in this lesson. After that, we'll go to our past paper question session. Okay. From this unit, we have some questions, actually serious questions from this unit. Okay. All right, it's time to clear some of your, it's time to answer a few questions. Yeah, general knowledge questions. One Puta was asking if Americans are racist. Look, I have worked with Americans. They are not racist. Okay, in general, Americans are not racist. Their constitution also doesn't allow them to be racist, actually. But there's a group of people in not only in America, in Europe or America, They are called far-right people, far-right, we call them sometimes with this name, white supremacists, who basically think that white skin people are greater or better or in a higher position than the dark skinned people. Not only dark skin, they were, there are yellow skin people also, like, Spanish, like Hispanic, those who are living in Mexico or other areas in the American continent. All they do is this white supremacy. This is a small group actually. Donald Trump's group, yeah. Donald Trump also indirectly supported this idea actually. So white supremacists, what they do is they think that white people are greater than others, and all others who are non-white, including the little darker ones, yeah, dark ones like the Africans, everybody below them. So they think like they are the people who should live in USA, and all others should live. It's basically a fascist ideology, extreme racism. Yeah, but there are people like this in USA. I'm not saying no. From their words and actions, you can identify them clearly. But some of them, they don't want to show because they know it's wrong. They know what they think is wrong, but they can't get rid of that feeling, They still have it in their genes. But I have to say that I have worked with a lot of Americans. Most of them are very genuine, very caring, and really they know the value of liberty, human rights, value of humanity, human beings. They really care, right? We are talking about a small minority who basically follow this idea of white supremacy. Yeah. So who believe that white people are greater. This is where racism, you can say, it starts. So if you talk about Native Americans, we call them Red Indians. Normally we don't call them Red Indians now. It's considered offensive to call Red Indians because they had red skin. You can't discriminate people like that based on their skin color. These are all these ideas are rejected, by the modern society, right? So the natives actually who were living in USA and American continent, they are the true owners of that country, to be honest. All the other white people, we can say, migrated from Britain and settled in colonies there. So their generation is basically continuing, and they have mixed with Mexicans, Hispanic. There are a lot of people from France, Italy, Spain. They have roots in America. Okay, basically there are a lot of Americans who have roots in France, Italy, and Spain. Those countries also, right? So this also needs to be understood. America, all in all, USA is a multi-ethnic, you can say multi-religious. It's a diverse country. It's a very diverse country. You go to USA, you see 10 people. It's like they're from 10 countries. They have different origins. Okay. Dubai, I lived in Dubai. I haven't traveled to USA yet. I'm hoping to do so one day. So Dubai is called mini America, for a reason. One thing is, okay, you can see a lot of things like in USA, the constructions, everything in Dubai. But at the same time, in Dubai, when you see 10 people, they are from 10 countries, okay? Like in USA, okay, they have different backgrounds. It's very, very diverse, very multi-ethnic. This is why USA is also strong. Because all the people from different backgrounds, they learn to live together as one nation. So when you do that, your country will only become strong, because you can see in USA, there are a lot of Chinese origin people also who are even working for the US Army, right? So they work for the US Army, but their parents are from China. So you see that, right? You see a lot of, that brings basically color to a society. When a society is like, go to North Korea, take 10 people, all are same, okay? Same haircut, same looks. You don't know who is who. Right? They look like twins. China also is like that, right? 10 Chinese people, they all look the same. Yeah, go to a party, you don't know who's your brother, basically. You can't find him because everybody look the same, right? Right? But if you go to USA, you see 10 people, 10 backgrounds. This is what brings color. It makes society so colorful, so diverse, so beautiful at the same time. When everybody from different backgrounds come and work on a common cause, start loving a country and start building a country together, nothing can be more satisfying than that. So this is something, I mean, I'm not saying others are wrong, China is bad, but that's why USA is, everybody wants to go to USA for that reason. Okay. If I ask you, many of you, you might like to go to USA. This is why, basically USA attracts more people from around the world. But there's a small group, in any society, there's a group like that. Basically, you can't kick them out, or you can't eliminate them completely. But sometimes these groups, their ideologies become cancerous. They spread like cancer, these ideas. Then society might get infected and problems might happen. Australians are nicer than Americans. In my opinion, no. Americans are better. In my opinion, it's my opinion. I'm entitled to my opinion. Okay. Australians are a little more arrogant, I would say, than Americans. Again, arrogant, and they are little rude. In general, I'm not saying there are many good Australians, not like that. Generally, if you compare side by side, okay. If you compare, but Australia is home to a huge population from Sri Lanka. If you go to Melbourne, you see it's like Sri Lanka. It's also very diverse at the same time, but Australians are, it's a developed country, we know, but if you compare with USA, there are good. I'm not saying like that, but it's my opinion. Okay, what I feel is, I've worked with a few Australians. They look a little more, you can say, supremacists. Is it? It's bad to say that word also. The way they look at Asians, we can say, from the way they treat Asians, we can say that Australians are a little more arrogant than Americans. From my experience, maybe you might have different experiences. Obviously, yeah, that's normal. End of the day, what you can learn, you have to learn. Yeah, that's it. The British also like that. British also little, they used to rule our countries, no, but they used to, we were their colonies, no, so because of that, they have that feeling towards Asia, like, these guys were like our slaves. That attitude, they have that attitude a little bit. But the young generation is different, so they like, diversity. They like to live together, inclusiveness, and these things are changing every day. The society is changing, the way people think are changing. Okay. If you see, the Arabs also like that. Arabs, they tend to treat Arabs better than us, basically, right? But if you compare Sri Lanka, we know, Arabs really love Sri Lankans. Okay, this you need to understand. This very beautiful thing, right? About because they know the relationship that we had for more than 1,000 years. So if you go to Arabia, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Kuwait, Bahrain, any country, you tell that you are Sri Lankan, they immediately have this good feeling towards you. But obviously, Arab culture is different. So they treat Arabs, all the Arabians, like they give priority. But when you are especially saying you're Sri Lanka, Indian, so many Indians out there. So because of that, yeah, the respect that we have comparatively, we have a little respect in Arabia than the Indians and Pakistanis. Okay, because we are respected there in Arabia because of our standards, our professionalism. We are more professional. Arabs consider us Sri Lankans as more professional than Indians and Pakistanis or Bangladesh guys, right? Okay, that's the main thing. They like our attitude, and they really help us. They really love us, basically. Yeah. I worked with all these type of people. I worked for an airline, so there were people from 160 countries. Emirates Airlines, we had people from 162 countries. Okay, So like we got to work with different types of people, and then that experience really counts, you know. Yeah. Indians talented than us in everything. If you take the general education level of an Indian and Sri Lankan, Indians are more educated than Sri Lankans. Yeah. Their education system, I mean, is a little more advanced than us. Yes. Yeah. So you can't say they are talented, but if you take the average Sri Lankan, if he has a diploma, the average Indian has a degree. If an average Sri Lankan has a bachelor's degree, Indians are qualified in masters. Something like that. That's why there are more Indians are in the computer sector, you know, IT sector. You can see most of them working in USA, Canada, those countries. They are generally, we can't say more talented or something like that. We also have a lot of talent. I mean, we don't need to compare. But Indians, more in numbers, right? They have a big population. So because of that, obviously, the percentage of the educated people is more than us. Yeah, obviously. Sports. Yeah. Sports, cricket, yeah, they are talented, right? Athletic, no, right? Athletic, no. They are not athletic. We can run faster than them. Cricket, yes, because they have IPL, so they manage to somehow polish their skills, right? Okay, all right. I think your questions are answered. Any other questions? General knowledge stuff. Really, you know, one of the main things that we try to do in this class, make you more complete. I mean, give you experience. I also want to share. I have tons of experience, you know, working for different countries and meeting people from different countries. So I think when I share my opinions, don't get stick to it. Don't get stuck with my opinions, because you might experience totally different. So I mean, just because I shared my opinions with you, you don't try to look at those people when you meet them from the angle that I look, right? You look at them with a free mind. Okay, but my opinions matter because you can be ready for what to expect. Now you know these are the type of people, so you are ready for it. This is why you have to learn from me, right? This is what you have to learn from me. Like when I share you my experiences, okay, there can be a situation like this, so you are ready for it. You are not openly telling anybody that, but you are keeping that in mind, so you know what to expect. So don't be, you are not surprised because this is the same thing that's happening, so this is how I should react to this, right? Like that. Okay, so when you work with Indian people, you will feel like they are very, very nationalist. That means now, if there's another Indian, let's say you and another Indian went to the company to work. Okay, now your supervisor or your manager is Indian. So the general trend is that manager will definitely give more preference to the Indian who's working with you. Maybe both of you have the same skills, same qualifications, you join the job same day, but generally the thing is like he normally not all the time, normally supports him. So when there's a promotion also, normally the Indian guy will be considered first, and then only it will come to us. Something like that. I know by experience. So not the same case everywhere, but most of the time. Yes. It's different, yes, in USA or in Europe. In Europe or USA, that's why they are developed countries. They give place to the talent. You know, if you are talented, for example, if you are talented than your manager, the manager will give his seat to you and he will quit. This is a very good quality of Europeans. They love talent, they respect talent, they basically want to do good. They love their jobs, they love what they are doing. That's the main difference, you know, between Europeans and Asians. Why Asia is not developed and Europe is developed? Yeah, because they really give place to those who deserve. Yeah, so if you deserve it, they will not keep you like that. They will not suppress you. They will let you grow. They will give you more responsibilities. They will let you unleash your potential. Yeah, that's what I learned from the Europeans. Yes. They really like talent. When they see talent, they definitely respect it and they give more opportunities for the talent. Yes. Our India has Bollywood. We don't have one. Our music and our movie industry is like an infant. Okay, podilame. Yeah. If you compare with India and Hollywood and Europe, it's nowhere. Okay, nowhere, because we did not invest much in those industries. Maybe because our population is less. So Sinhala language is spoken by only a few million people, like let's say 20 million. But if you compare Hindi and English, a lot of people talk that language. So those movies have big markets. So for Sinhala movies, we don't see a point. That's why, I mean, putting a lot of money there and making a big industry like Hollywood or Bollywood is out of the picture. But we have some good movies which has which has gained international awards, which has won international awards as well. Good themed movies. But production wise, the market wise, like the Marvels and the comics and these things, Spider-Man or these type of things, or Bollywood, we don't have that market. They don't watch single movies. Yeah. We have to make English language movies. We can try. Yeah, we can try, but there's a lot of competition. So whoever puts more money into it will succeed. When there's a lot of competition, those who do it best, I think we should focus on other things, without making movies. Now we should be focused on how to earn our food now. Right? Because we don't have fuel and food, so that's the immediate challenge. Movies can wait. Okay. Yeah. Even when a new leader comes, will our country race with the economy? It means, very good question. What a new leader can do? These leaders right now, they have lost the trust of the whole world, including Sri Lankans. Okay. Once you lost the trust, you can't get it back. Okay. It's very difficult. That's what I'm telling you. You have the trust with your parents, try to keep it. Never break it. When you have good trust built with your friends at school, never ever go behind their back and do things that you don't have to do, and don't break that trust. It's very difficult to earn trust, and it's very easy to break that. So now this government, including its leaders, has zero trust among all the people in this country, plus the whole world. So what a new leader. Even if I became the president tomorrow, I might have more support from the whole world than the leaders right now, who are there right now. Okay, maybe the world doesn't know me. The world has no idea, but you take a coconut and keep it on the president's seat, the coconut will have more trust than the president right now, because he's lost everything. Okay, you got my point. Yeah. Yeah, because other countries might, I'm not saying they will, but might come forward and extend their arms of help, so we can get some more help. Right now we need help. When you need help, we need help. We had a long history, so we are strong, we can do this alone, and this is not the reality. This is not the truth. Right now, Sri Lanka needs help. So there must be a leader who can get that help, who can build some sort of a trust than who is there right now. Okay. Polgediak Janadipati Karas, it will have more trust tomorrow. Trust me. Right now, because there's no trust. All the trust he built is gone. Zero. You can't take it back, once it's gone, it's gone. It's very difficult. It will never be the same again. Right? Okay. Economic crisis, we hope it will get settled in the next 5 years. I believe for the next 5 years, don't expect any miracles to happen. 5 years minimum. Okay. We have to work hard for that. Yes. Trust is like glass. Yes. Very difficult, huh? Very difficult to earn and easy to break. Okay, we'll see you next week then. We'll complete this lesson next week. If we have time, we'll discuss some past papers also. Anyway, we'll keep discussing so we have time. So hopefully we can finish the syllabus by August, or yeah, maybe August, hopefully. Then we do our paper class. Okay, so the same slot will be allocated for the paper class. So we'll do the revision and paper class from August to August or September to until your exam, right? That's the plan. Okay, I will see you next week. You guys take care.
Thank you, sir. Good night, sir.
God bless you all. Good night. Bye. Take care. Always.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
God
sir.
bless.
Good night.
Good night. Bye bye.